Okay, we're going to take a look at one of the more complicated aspects of the system, which is the creation and managing of certificates of analysis and specifications. So, for the purposes of the video, we're going to assume that you already know what a certificate of analysis is to save us some time. And we're going to more focus on how to manage those things in the system. So, it starts with creating and managing the types of specifications that you want to keep track of around products. So, to do that, you go into the Tools menu, Master Table Maintenance, and Specification Headings. So the system comes preloaded with a few hundred different specification headings if you want. We can reduce that list if you want, but you can also create your own. So these are the types of things that you want to keep track of. So one example here is melting points. So I'll just select melting point, and I've already set this up so we have a specification heading called melting point, and let's just edit how we want to keep track of this. So a few different things here. We can say when we're putting melting point on the customer's certificate of analysis, do we want to consolidate it for all lots? Should they go in as numbers or alphanumeric? Is it a yes, no? Should it be equal? When we're entering in, are we saying the value must be equal? Should it be a list, a range, a minimum or a maximum? And is there any type of text that goes after the number that goes in? So in this case, I'm saying I want to keep track of melting points in Celsius. So that's specification headings, and that sort of the initial thing. Those have to be set up first before you can do anything else. So once you have specification headings, with keeping track of the different types of specifications that you want to keep track of, then we're going to set up purchase and sales specification sets. So to do that, it's also from Master Table Maintenance, and we'll start on the purchasing side. There's purchasing standard specifications. So let's choose a product that we buy, and I'm going to choose, for example, acetone here. So we want to indicate what are the specific requirements that we want to tell our suppliers that this product must meet when we purchase acetone. So I've already set this up and said that we have these 6 different characteristics, and that it must meet the purity level of this, ash content of this, lead content, the color must be red, the clarity must be a minimum of 0.02, and a certain pH level as well. You can set up multiple sets of specification requirements for each product. So like if you buy, say, a high grade of a product and a low grade, you can say that, when we buy the high grade, the products must meet this set of specs, but if we're buying the lower grade, then the specs can be a little more loose. So you can set that second set. Also, you can set up different sets of specification requirements by vendor too. If you wanted to say, from this vendor, these are our specs, these are our requirements. From another vendor, we have a different set of requirements. So that's creating and managing the purchase standard specifications. And then something similar exists on the sales side. So if we were to go into, again, the Tools, Master Table Maintenance, you'll see there's the customer specifications. And now we're going to be combining product and customer combinations. So let's say every time we sell to Metaltech, every time we sell acetone to Metaltech, I'll choose acetone again. So let's say, okay, these are the specification requirements that Metaltech has. Now, they are only keeping track of less specifications. They only are concerned with the melting point and the viscosity. So there's only the 2 there, and they may have totally different ways in which they're requiring these things too. There's a few other fields up here. These are coming in from the customer by default, but you can adjust them here. So we're saying, when we're creating sales orders, are we indicating this customer's specification requirements on the sales order? When we're generating a certificate of analysis to go to this customer, should we include all the specifications associated with that material, or just the ones that they're concerned with? And then are we including the producer's name on the C of A, yes or no? So obviously that's, if you don't want them to know who the actual manufacturer of the product is, you would hide that. And here we're saying, are we including the customer's requirements on the C of A as well? So you have that option. When the system generates the certificate of analysis, it's obviously going to have the product specs, but you can also include the customer requirements alongside them if you choose to. So that's setting the customer specifications. So now when we create both sales orders and purchase orders, we can include those specification requirements along with it. So I'll show you on the purchase side. It works the same way on the sales side, but let's just look at the purchase side first. When we go in a purchase order and we're creating a brand new PO, let's buy acetone, and I'll just choose a vendor here. Let's just say it's this company here, and I'm going to select acetone as the product that we want to buy from them. So we'll select acetone, and now you'll see when I do that, it's going to first bring up the quantities that we already have available and what's in transit and so on. But also underneath here, it's assuming that we want to choose our default set of specification requirements, which in fact is true. We could change to say, remember I was saying before, you can have high grade or low grade specification requirements. And if we want to see the details of what the specific spec requirements are, we click into that little details link there, and it loads a pop-up that is just sort of a reminder for us to show us what those specific purchase standard specs are. And this information is going to show up on the PO that goes to the supplier as well. So same exact idea happens also on the sales side. When you pick a customer and pick a product, you can also pick which set of specification requirements that they have. And then when you go to allocate a sale, actually no, but before we do that, let's talk about getting the actual product specs in. So now we've indicated to supplier, these are our spec requirements. They've sent us the material, and when they send us the material, and probably at the time they send us the shipping documents, they're also going to send us a certificate of analysis. So we need to get that information into the system somehow. So there's a screen to do that. It's from the logistics menu and venture maintenance, and it's on the right hand side here. It's called venture certificate of analysis. So let me pick a specific purchase order shipment. In this case, let's say it's 55032 *1*1, which is for 3,800 pounds of acetone. So if I want to maintain the certificate of analysis on this specific shipment, I can. So it pulls up all our purchase standard specifications. So we're just going to indicate what specific specs are on each lot. So if you have multiple lots, you can add multiple lots here too. In this case, this shipment is only one lot. So for each specific specification, we'll indicate what the values are on that lot. So notice when I click on this specific specification, like in this case purity, underneath it shows us what our purchase requirements were. So we told the supplier that our minimum purity was 97.3%. So if I enter any number in here that's under that, then notice here it's going to show up in red to warn us, whoever's doing the entry, to warn us that this product actually doesn't meet our requirements. It'll still let you put it in, but it's just showing you in red to indicate that it doesn't meet the requirements. But let's say I'll make it so it does, then you see I put in something over 97.5 and it shows in white, so it lets us know, okay, that's fine. Something similar, so now once we've entered that, by the way, it stores those specifications along with the lot details. So now when I go to allocate against this lot, and let's actually go to that screen. So let's say, again from logistics menu, we'll go to inventory allocation, and I'm going to pick a specific sales order that I want to match against. So let me pick a recent one. Choose 1066. Okay, So this is my sales order 1066. It's for 100 pounds of acetone, and I can see specifically, I can choose the warehouse that I want to pull from, or if I click this little view button, it's going to show me all lots available to allocate against for acetone. Loads this little pop-up window. It shows us what each of the lots are, and then it's also at this point considering what the customer's spec requirements are, and if any of these lots don't meet their requirements, then you'll see little black text under here that just says this lot does not meet the customer specification requirements, because it's comparing the actual C of A on that lot against the customer requirements, and it's presenting a warning. It'll still let you do it, but it's presenting that warning. And then the final piece is you can actually generate a certificate of analysis document that you send out to the customer, and those we customize for each specific customer, so it'll have your logo and address and everything in it. But to do so, you go into logistics menu, process release, and then you'll see it's this third link from the bottom here, certificate of analysis, which will be the actual C of A with the product specs, and as I was saying before, it can include the customer specification requirements along with it if you wanted to.